This quiet, shadowed place holds a whispered horror, a forgotten echo of terrible human cost. Imagine the breath held, the pounding heart, on a morning when hope felt so very far away. Then the world exploded. A symphony of fire, steel, and screams shattered the peaceful dawn forever. This was not victory. This silence, so profound, swallowed the very breath of a continent. What kind of victory leaves only horror in its wake? A question whispered through history's forgotten pages. Some victories are celebrated with parades and cheers. Others are quietly buried, too painful to remember. Here, on one terrible day, more souls departed than many battles combined. A staggering, silent toll. Think of the young faces, the dreams unlived, the families shattered, all on this hallowed ground. The sheer scale of it, numbers that ceased to be figures, becoming simply unbearable. Endless loss. Unlike tales of glory, this story echoes with a different kind of truth. A profound, lasting silence. The very soil drank deep that day, turning a mournful shade, holding secrets of a brutal past. A field now quiet, but its silence speaks volumes of the chaos, the agony, and lives extinguished. Was it truly victory if the price paid was so devastatingly high? The question lingers still. We seek to understand why this place, Malplaquet, became a name synonymous with such profound sorrow. Malplaquet, a name Europe tried hard to forget, to bury beneath layers of collective memory. It was a horror so absolute, a stain so deep, that silence seemed the only path forward. But why? What made this particular battle a bloodbath so chilling, so uniquely devastating? Step with us back into that visceral reality where war was raw, brutal, and profoundly personal. The simple, terrible tools of their trade brought unimaginable suffering, tearing apart flesh and spirit. The cost was counted not just in acres gained, but in an ocean of human lives lost. And as twilight falls, we are left to ponder what truly happened here and why it matters. Come, let us walk these fields together and feel the history Europe tried so hard to forget. Imagine, if you will, the gentle hush of Europe, just as the 18th century softly dawned upon us. Nations, like old friends, watched each other, a delicate peace held by trembling hands. But beneath the surface, ancient lines of power began to shift, whispered concerns growing louder. In Spain, a king, frail and childless, held the fate of an empire in his failing grasp. No heir, a chilling vacuum of immense, terrifying power opening up, threatening all stability. His vast realm, untouched by a direct successor, became a world's covetous longing. Across the Pyrenees, the Sun King, Louis XIV, envisioned a brighter future for France. His ambition, a formidable sun itself, cast long, hungry shadows across the entire continent. A Bourbon on the Spanish throne would mean an unimaginable, truly fearsome, crushing power. The Spanish crown represented immense wealth, vast territories, and boundless, coveted influence. Control over trade routes, resources, and vital ports. It was truly everything for nations. Europe became a grand, intricate chessboard, each move holding destiny for millions. No one wanted one power to hold such a crushing, dominant, inescapable hand. The specter of French hegemony, a single, towering titan, haunted every royal court. This delicate balance of power, so painstakingly built, threatened to crumble entirely. Truly, necessity, a quiet, growing urgency, began forging unlikely alliances among worried nations. The Grand Alliance emerged, a testament to shared fears and a vital, common purpose. They stood united, a bulwark against the rising, relentless tide of Bourbon expansion. Leading them, a man of quiet genius, John Churchill, the great Duke of Marlborough. His strategic mind, like a surgeon's blade, cut through the confusing, swirling fog of war. He brought a rare blend of courage and intellect to the unfolding, terrible, arduous conflict. Beside him, another star, Prince Eugene of Savoy, an equally formidable, brilliant commander. A brilliant tactician, his energy and passion inspired countless, weary soldiers onward. Together, these two great generals formed a potent, inspiring, seemingly unbeatable force. Indeed, whispers turned to shouts, and then the inevitable, deafening roar of brutal war. Europe, once a patchwork of uneasy peace, now bristled with terrible, ready arms. From the lowlands to the mountains, the very ground began to shake, truly and terribly. The continent was aflame, the War of Spanish Succession casting its long, dark shadow. It touched every home, every village, every beating, tender heart in its destructive path. A struggle for thrones, a fight for balance, a bloody, tragic price awaited all. France, in that year of 1709, was a land worn thin, like an old garment, frayed by ceaseless war. The people, they had endured so much. Their fields lay fallow, hunger gnawed at their very bones. The king's coffers, once overflowing with gold, were now hollow echoes, resounding with only emptiness. Years of fighting, battles upon battles, had drained the lifeblood from this proud nation. Yet, even in the depths of exhaustion, a stubborn fire still flickered within the French spirit. Louis XIV, the Sun King, though humbled, would not see his kingdom utterly broken. A defiant, weary heart beats on, refusing to surrender to the overwhelming tides of misfortune. Though winter gripped the land, a seed of resolve, though small, remained firmly planted in the earth. Peace, that longed-for whisper, seemed to mock them, dancing just beyond reach during desperate talks. The terms offered, born of a victor's confidence, were too harsh for even a desperate king. France, though on its knees, could not accept such utter humiliation and despair, and the Allies, sensing final victory, believed their demands were entirely justified, indeed necessary. So the delicate threads of peace frayed and snapped. The world braced for more, much more. Both sides, hardened by war, retreated to their corners, preparing for yet another bitter round. The Allies, after the failed talks, turned their eyes toward Mons, a vital strategic prize. A great army, a river of men and steel, began its steady, purposeful flow across the landscape. Their objective, to besiege this city, a move that would further cripple Louis XIV's war effort. The stage was set, a new act unfolding. The Allied advance was relentless and unwavering. News of Mons reached Versailles. Louis XIV, burdened by age, felt the weight of history. His command was stark, unequivocal. Marshal Villars, intercept them at any cost. Villars, his most trusted general, was France's last true hope in this desperate hour. The burden of a nation's defiance now rested firmly upon his shoulders, a heavy, unenviable weight. He saw not just woods, but a fortress, a natural shield waiting to be made impregnable. With brilliant foresight, Villars chose this place, this seemingly ordinary ridge, for France's stand. They worked day and night, carving defenses from the earth, the woods their silent accomplice. Each spade of earth turned was a prayer, a desperate hope for a final, decisive victory. The ridge grew, a monstrous, fortified beast, ready to swallow any who dared approach it. An impregnable death trap, a masterpiece of defense, had been meticulously forged by Villars. Marlborough and Eugene arrived. They saw the fortress, the death trap, laid before them. To retreat was defeat. To attack meant unimaginable slaughter. Yet, they made the fateful choice. The quiet before a storm often feels heavier, doesn't it? A breath held, anticipating a profound change. Thousands slumbered, unaware of the grim harvest this serene field would soon demand of them. Two colossal forces, poised on Europe's edge, ready for a clash unlike anything yet witnessed by mankind. A shiver ran through the air, a silent premonition that this day would be etched in history. September 11th, 1709, a date that would forever echo with the cries of countless, forgotten souls. As the light crept in, the Allied commanders finally grasped the brutal truth of their predicament. Before them lay a nightmare wrought in earth and wood, a barrier designed to defy all courage. A collective gasp, a silent dread, swept through the ranks as the defenses became clearer. Villars had not merely defended a position, he had meticulously crafted a deadly, inescapable trap. The Duke, a master of war, understood the sheer audacity, the cruel genius, of this defensive masterpiece. Eugene of Savoy, a brilliant mind, recognized the immense, almost insurmountable task ahead of them. Every natural advantage had been exploited, every weakness in terrain expertly transformed into strength. First, the formidable earthworks rose, man-made hills of soil and stone, designed to absorb cannon fire. Then came the abattis, a brutal fence of sharpened tree trunks, tearing flesh from advancing soldiers. Not one, but often two such barriers stood, a double snare for any who dared to breach the first. Scattered along these lines, triangular redans jutted out, offering devastating crossfire upon attackers. Each element, ingeniously placed, worked in concert, creating a killing ground unlike any seen before. It felt impenetrable, a cruel mockery of human courage, a fortress without walls, yet unconquerable. Marshal Villas, a cunning mind, had turned the very land into an extension of his army's will. This wasn't merely a defensive line, it was a vast open-air prison waiting to swallow an army whole. Within their tent, the Allied commanders faced a choice that would define the fate of nations. To attack these lines frontally seemed utter madness, a march into certain catastrophic slaughter. The arguments raged, voices hushed, yet laden with the weight of hundreds of thousands of lives. Other options were scarce, each one fraught with its own perilous risks, its own deadly uncertainties. They wrestled with the unthinkable. A frontal assault, a gamble against overwhelming odds, against nature itself. Yet, inaction was its own defeat, a concession that Europe could not afford. Not here. With a heavy heart, Marlborough made the agonizing decision, a gamble born of grim necessity. Eugene, ever his loyal, brilliant counterpart, stood ready to execute the dreadful, daring plan. The fateful morning of September 11th, 1709, arrived, veiled in a thick, chilling blanket of fog. A silence descended, heavy and deep, broken only by the drip of moisture from the tree branches. Nature held its breath, as if sensing the impending tragedy, the profound violence about to erupt. Across the vast expanse, men began to stir, their breakfast simple, their deepest thoughts unspoken. The quiet rituals of war began, each movement imbued with a silent, desperate prayer for survival. Low voices, hushed commands, rippled through the ranks, preparing men for the unimaginable ordeal. For a fleeting moment, a final breath of peace, before the brutal crescendo of battle would begin. Then came the movement, a gradual, deliberate advance, swallowed almost immediately within the mist. These were not the main thrusts, but cunning feints, designed to draw French attention and resources. On the left, a probing force pushed forward, feeling for the enemy's strength, searching for weakness. The right flank saw similar movements, small units testing the defenses, seeking any vulnerable seam. Then, a distant crackle, like dry wood snapping, the first whispers of battle breaking the silence. The probes met fierce resistance, a wall of musket fire erupting from the unseen French lines. Even these initial exchanges, mere feints, quickly became costly, painting the ground with early blood. It was a stark prelude, a chilling whisper of the immense, unimaginable horror that truly awaited them. The trap was sprung, the stage set. Malplaquet's bloodbath, a legend of sorrow, had truly begun. The morning breathed cold, a silent prayer. Unknown fate awaited, hidden within dawn's hesitant, creeping, chilling light. A shiver ran through the ranks, not from cold. The first drumbeat would soon shatter the sacred morning quiet. Then came the order. A slow, heavy march began, carrying so many toward a terrifying, unknown horizon. These were the Dutch, tasked with the impossible. Their faces held both resolve and a profound, quiet dread. Before them, the French lines, formidable. A dark gap beckoned, a deadly invitation into the heart of the storm. The silence shattered. Cannon boomed, tearing at the morning air, tearing at the very fabric of their courage. They pressed forward, a relentless tide. Each step was a defiance against the thundering, unseen hand of fate. The Bois de Taisnières, a dark moor. Whispers of unseen perils within its depths beckoned them deeper. Into the gap they funneled, a human river flowing towards its brutal, predetermined, and terrifying destiny. Each breath, a prayer. Each step, a surrender. The forest's dark embrace awaited their weary, pounding hearts. They entered the gloom, swallowed by shadows. The woods awoke, spitting fire. A nightmare had now begun. The forest floor became a crucible. Muskets flashed, a relentless, deadly rhythm echoing through the ancient trees. From unseen nests, the French unleashed hell. Each shot a cruel whisper, tearing through brave, hopeful lives. The path forward was paved with sacrifice. Each fallen comrade, a somber reminder of courage's terrible cost. Even the ancient trees wept. Cannon tore through bark and bone, a brutal symphony of human despair. The air grew heavy, thick with powder and dread. A cacophony of war swallowed every hopeful sound. Then came the steel. Bayonets fixed, a glint of desperation, as human will clashed against cold, unyielding iron. No room for thought now, only instinct. A primal scream, a desperate lunge, then oblivion's silent embrace. Order fractured, dissolved. A whirlwind of fear and fury, where every soul fought for one more fleeting breath. The earth drank deeply that day. Blood and mud mingled, a gruesome testament to their unyielding, tragic resolve. Leaders roared, their voices raw. Still, they pressed, driven by duty, against an overwhelming, crushing might. Wave after wave, they came. A tide of human courage, broken again and again against an iron shore. Weary faces, yet their spirit refused to yield. A desperate courage ignited, even as hope dwindled. The standard-bearer stood, a beacon, his torn flag, a testament to unwavering loyalty, even in death's shadow. Below, a grim tapestry unfolded, smoke, fire, and countless fallen, a profound, heartbreaking sacrifice in darkness. They reformed, fewer each time. Yet, with grim resolve, they prepared to face the roaring beast again. The cries of the wounded, unheard. A haunting melody of suffering, lost within the battle's deafening roar. Momentarily, the tide turned. A desperate French surge, pushing back, refusing to yield precious, blood-soaked ground. Eyes wide, breath ragged, he fought. A desperate defender, holding fast against the relentless, brutal human tide. Still they came, fewer, yet fiercer. A roar of defiance, pushing into the gap once more. Amidst the storm, Villas rode. His presence, a steadying hand, a beacon of courage for his weary, fighting men. Moment by moment, lives extinguished. The Dutch massacre etched itself into the very soul of this blood-soaked ground. Their spirit, though unbroken, could not defy death. Few remained, haunted by the countless faces of fallen friends. A fleeting quiet. Above the din, a bird soared, oblivious to the desperate, terrifying human folly below. Then, a cruel twist of fate. Villas struck down, a leader's fall echoing across the bloody field. A gasp, a flurry of hands. Their valiant leader now brought low. A heavy shadow fell. Even in pain, his eyes burned bright. Commands whispered, a will refusing to be broken. Even in defeat, a chill ran through the French lines. Their great leader fallen, yet their resolve, surprisingly, held firm. Then, Boufflers stepped forward. A steady hand, a calming presence amidst the storm, taking command. His face etched with grim resolve. He knew the terrible cost, yet duty compelled his unwavering, heavy heart. The storm raged on, unyielding. Under Boufflers, the French fought with renewed, desperate, unwavering courage. As dusk approached, the battle still roared, a terrifying testament to human endurance and its immense, tragic cost. A broken musket, a fallen flag, silent witnesses to the day's profound human struggle and its heartbreaking sorrow. The echoes of battle lingered, a solemn silence now, forever holding the memories of so many lost. They pushed, inch by agonizing inch, into the very maw of the French defenses. A wall of fire awaited them. Hope and fear warred in every soul. Each step forward cost a profound and terrible price. The woods, once silent, now roared with the thunder of war, swallowing light and life. There was no turning back, only the relentless, dreadful march towards an uncertain, bloody fate. Leadership became sheer will, driving men beyond endurance into the very teeth of death itself. The earth itself seemed to groan, torn apart by the ceaseless, brutal fury of the ongoing conflict. These tattered banners, symbols of enduring resolve, became beacons in a deepening, terrible storm. The French, dug in deep, met each wave with unyielding, stubborn resistance, a true shield. Space closed, and the battle became a desperate, primal struggle for mere inches of soil. A breakthrough, perhaps, but forged in the fiery crucible of an unbearable human cost. Like a river, the Allied lines flowed, endlessly into the heart of that infernal forest. Every tree seemed to weep, witnessing the immense, unspeakable tragedy unfolding beneath its boughs. The very air throbbed with percussive might, the constant, booming heartbeat of this dreadful day. The human spirit, pushed beyond all limits, found reserves it never knew existed. For an instant, tools of war, once pristine, now lay broken, testament to the sheer, brutal force unleashed here. Even the staunchest defenders felt the strain, their iron resolve bending under relentless pressure. The cavalry, usually thunderous, found no room to ride, frustrated by the suffocating, deadly crush. It was not strategy, but raw, desperate will that pushed them forward, hour after grueling hour. The ground itself began to disappear, covered by a grim, silent harvest of fallen men. As the day wore on, hope mingled with despair, the outcome still agonizingly, terribly uncertain. A silent calculation was made, a heavy decision born of courage, not of weakness. The withdrawal began, not a panicked flight, but a grudging, disciplined, and somber retreat. A quiet murmur spread through the Allied ranks, a fragile, tentative breath of hard-won relief. Even in defeat, the French showed an admirable, formidable resilience, holding steadfastly firm. The ground was taken, yes, but felt heavy, soaked in the profound, terrible cost of conquest. The air, once thick with acrid smoke, now slowly thinned, revealing the full, somber truth. What remained was a scene of stark, chilling desolation, a testament to humanity's destructive power. A lonely banner, a poignant farewell, marked the final silent departure of a proud army. There was no joyous cry, no triumphant cheer, only a profound, exhausted, haunting silence now. The victory had been earned, but at what immeasurable, agonizing cost to every single soul present. The work of compassion began, a desperate, silent struggle against the overwhelming tide of pain. Every life extinguished here left an unfillable void, a story abruptly, tragically silenced forever. The victorious general, his face etched with sorrow, surveyed the grim, silent, terrible aftermath. No words were needed. The unspoken truth of this victory hung heavy, cold, and inescapable. What good was triumph, if its terrible price left only this echoing, hollow, profound emptiness? The earth would claim its own, a final, solemn resting place for so many bright, lost lives. A haunting melody drifted across the field, a tender, sorrowful lament for the fallen. Even in withdrawal, the French remained unbroken, a powerful, organized force, retreating, not routed. The numbers spoke of a victory so costly, it felt less like triumph, more like defeat. The weight of command, the burden of such loss, pressed down on his aging, tired shoulders. He had seen many battles, but this one left a mark different from any before, a deep scar. A very murderous battle, he whispered, the words echoing the grim, unvarnished truth. Indeed, a victory carved from flesh and blood, a terrible testament to humanity's enduring capacity for sacrifice. And so, the sun set on Malplaquet, leaving behind a silence that would forever scream its cost. The cannon's roar had finally faded, leaving a hush, a chilling silence. What lay beneath? As the last smoke whispered away, the terrible truth of Malplaquet began to emerge clearly. The fields, once vibrant with life, now bore a harvest of unimaginable human sorrow. An unparalleled devastation, a scene beyond comprehension, etched forever into the sacred earth. From open fields to shadowed woods, death had touched every corner indiscriminately and without mercy. The silence, heavy and profound, was broken only by the anguished moans of the dying. Such suffering, a symphony of pain, whispered across the chilling, blood-soaked ground below. Tens of thousands, simply statistics now, but each once a breathing, hopeful soul. This was the true cost of glory, paid in blood and countless shattered, forgotten dreams. Soon, the chilling numbers would be tallied, revealing the depth of this immense tragedy. The shocking casualty figures would soon speak volumes, tales of sacrifice beyond belief. Malplaquet, a name now synonymous with slaughter, carved its place in dark history. The bloodiest battle of the 18th century, a grim crown no nation ever desired. Compared to battles before, its sheer scale of destruction was truly unprecedented and horrifying. The Allies, though victorious, paid a crushing, disproportionate price for this hard-won field. The victors stood not in triumph, but in a profound, unsettling silence of grief. No cheers, no joyful celebrations, only the heavy shared burden of unimaginable loss. A victory, yes, but one that felt hollow, bought with too many precious lives. The grand hope, to break France, remained tragically unfulfilled. A bitter strategic disappointment. France, though battered, remained unbowed, its spirit unbroken, its resolve hardened still. This costly war, far from ending, would tragically drag on, demanding even more. The unending cost, both in lives and treasure, weighed heavily upon the weary continent. And so, the echoes of Malplaquet lingered, asking if victory was truly worth the price. The guns fell silent, but Malplaquet's echoes lingered, shaping futures in ways none could foresee that bloody dawn. We often look at battles as isolated moments, but their true weight settles long after the last cannons roar. Malplaquet, a name whispered in somber tones, casts a long shadow, a lesson many preferred to forget. What does victory mean when the cost is so utterly crushing? Malplaquet became that haunting question, a bloody paradox. It was a triumph, yes, but one so dearly bought, it felt more like an exhaustion than a celebration. Such Pyrrhic successes leave a bitter taste, a profound weariness, eroding the very spirit of the victor. Yet, from the ashes of defeat, a strange new resolve arose in France. A fierce, quiet stubbornness. The sheer magnitude of their suffering at Malplaquet hardened French resolve, stiffening their backs, uniting their spirit. This brutal lesson, though painful, forged a stronger, more resilient will within the French nation itself. Ironically, this devastating loss softened their conqueror's stance, leading to terms more lenient than anyone imagined possible. Malplaquet, that bloody victory, inadvertently strengthened Louis XIV's hand, leading to the Treaty of Utrecht. The very bloodshed meant to crush France instead gave them unexpected leverage in shaping a more favorable peace. Back in Britain, the immense casualties stirred a deep, uncomfortable disillusionment. Was such a price truly worth it? The heavy human cost of Malplaquet fueled political unrest, eroding public support for Marlborough's long, costly war. This profound disillusionment ultimately reshaped British politics, questioning the very purpose and morality of endless European conflicts. Beyond politics, Malplaquet etched a grim, undeniable lesson onto the very heart of military strategy forever. It was a harsh, unambiguous tutorial in the devastating power of entrenched positions, a brutal calculus of human lives. Generals studied Malplaquet's ghastly toll for centuries, learning that bravery alone could not overcome such immense obstacles. The sheer, raw futility of charging headlong into fortified lines became painfully clear, a bloody, stark warning. Lessons learned in blood at Malplaquet would echo through future conflicts, shaping tactics and saving countless lives later. The courage was boundless, but the strategy was flawed, making Malplaquet a poignant testament to tactical folly. The sheer, profound horror of Malplaquet, its unimaginable suffering, made it a truth too uncomfortable to recall. A memory quietly set aside. A grim lesson, perhaps, but one that should never truly fade from our shared human story. And so, we close this chapter. A field Europe tried to erase, shrouded in memory's quiet, somber mist. Malplaquet, a name whispered then suppressed, became a ghost in the annals of a continent's troubled past. Perhaps its memory was too heavy, too stained with blood, too stark a mirror to our human folly. The true cost of war, my friend, is never just numbers. It is silent screams and broken dreams. From such profound sorrow, we learn of life's precious fragility and the staggering price of ambition. Victory's glow, here, felt hollow. A triumph built upon so much agony, forever questioning its worth. When the cost is so high, what, truly, does winning mean? A deeper question lingers still. Behind every grand strategy, every decree, stood countless souls, each with their own quiet story. The vast chessboards of kings, the small, trembling hands of ordinary men, caught in history's grasp. Their sacrifices, though perhaps unremembered by many, echo still within the hallowed ground they consecrated. The earth remembers. The wind whispers their names. History's truths, though hidden, always resurface. If this quiet reflection touched your heart, please consider sharing your appreciation with a simple like. Subscribe for more untold narratives, forgotten corners of history patiently waiting to be rediscovered with us, and share your thoughts below. What other battles, what other lives deserve our quiet remembrance?